Hello, and welcome to our Flip video lesson 2.15, Who Were They? And the recording links will be posted here once the video posts. Learning objectives of this lesson. Choose one barbarian tribe, tell where they lived, and describe their way of life. Identify at least 3 barbarian tribes that threatened the Roman Empire in the 4th and 5th centuries AD, and identify Attila as the leader of the Huns of Central Asia. I always want to say Attila the Hun, because that's really how we know him best in history. Table of contents. We're going to talk about the barbarian invasions. Your student guide, pages 359 to 363. There's just a few vocabulary words we're going to go over. And then your Human Odyssey reading, pages 429 to 437. As always, it's super important to make sure you have these pages read to tie together all of this information that we go over. So 2.15, who were they? Introduction. You probably know what a vandal or vandalism is, but did you know where the term vandal comes from? Perched along the borders of the Roman Empire were nomadic tribes that the Romans called barbarians. The barbarians were actually distinct groups like the Visigoths, the Ostrogoths, the Huns, and, did you guess, the Vandals. As the strength of the Roman Empire declined, those groups plundered and pillaged through Roman villages. The Vandals ransacked Rome so thoroughly that their name still applies to anyone who loots and destroys property. So we're going to do a quick web search here. We're going to go to a Duxter's website, which I really like. It's got a lot of good basic information about the historical topics that we're talking about. Okay, so here we're at the Duxter's website, which is a great website for basic information about a lot of history topics. So today we're going to be talking about ancient Rome and the barbarians. The Romans fought the barbarians at the borders of the Roman Empire for many years. In some cases, barbarians became part of the Roman Empire. In other cases, they fought wars and eventually sacked the city of Rome, bringing about the end of the Western Roman Empire. Who were the barbarians? The Romans referred to the people groups outside the Roman Empire as barbarians. The barbarians had different cultures than the Romans. They dressed differently, ate different foods, and had different religions. They did not have the same level of government, education, or engineering as the Romans. Barbarian peoples and invasions of Rome. The barbarians weren't just one people group. The term barbarian was used to describe a wide variety of different peoples that had little to do with each other. Many of the groups that attacked and invaded the Roman Empire were Germanic tribes from Northern Europe. Goths. Goths were one of the most powerful and organized groups of the barbarians. The Goths were divided into 2 major branches, the Visigoths and the Ostrogoths. The Visigoths took over much of the Western Europe and battled Rome constantly in the late 300s. Under their leader, Alaric I, the Visigoths sacked Rome in 410. The Vandals. The Vandals migrated from northern Europe to the Iberian Peninsula, which is Spain, and eventually to North Africa, where they established a powerful kingdom. They established a peace treaty with Rome in 442 AD, but attacked Rome in 455 when the treaty was broken. Under the Vandal king Genseric, the Vandals sacked Rome in 455 AD and plundered the city for 2 weeks. And here we're on the Huns. The Huns were a nomadic warrior people who came from the east. Under the leadership of their leader, Attila, and you've probably heard that a lot, Attila the Hun, the Huns defeated the Ostrogoths and invaded Eastern Roman Empire. Then they moved to conquer much of the Roman Gaul, France. In 452, the Huns invaded Italy. They plundered much of Italy, but did not take the city of Rome. The Franks. The Franks were a number of Germanic tribes that settled in the region that is today the country of France. France gets its name from the Franks. They began invading the borders of the Roman Empire around 300 AD. The Franks truly became powerful after the fall of the Western Roman Empire and would eventually become one of the leading empires in Western Europe. Saxons. As Rome began to weaken, the Saxons moved from Western Europe and began to invade Great Britain. They took over many Roman settlements in Great Britain as the emperor was too weak to send the Romans in Great Britain aid. Others. There were many other peoples that Romans referred to as barbarians, including the Celts, the Thracians, the Parthians, the Picts, the Lombards, and the Burgundians. Interesting facts about Roman barbarians. The word barbarian comes from the Greek word barbaros. The Romans often talked bad about the Greeks and looked down on them, but they did not consider them barbarians. The Romans often allied with various barbarian tribes. They would use one barbarian tribe to help them fight another. Many barbarians became part of the Roman Empire. Rome absorbed many aspects of the different barbarian cultures they conquered. Barbarian men often served as soldiers in the Roman army. And then if you want to, you could always listen to a recorded reading of this page, or you can take a quick quiz about this page to double check your understanding. I will have this link posted in the flip video. Okay, go ahead and open your student guide to page 359. There's not a lot of writing space for these questions, but the questions don't have very long answers, so you should be able to fit it in, but you can always grab another piece of paper if you'd like. So question number 1 on page 359. Identify the groups that invaded Western Europe between AD 350 and 550. So they were the Burgundians, the Franks, the Huns, the Ostrogoths, the Angles, the Anglo-Saxons, the Jutes, the Vandals, the Visigoths, the Lombards, and the Goths. The Goths. Okay, and so you can take a quick look there at that map, and you can see where each barbarian group settled and where they invaded. And you can see that split between Western Rome and Eastern Rome. Question number 2. What group of invaders came the greatest distance? That was the Huns. The Huns were nomadic warriors who terrorized much of the Europe and Roman Empire in the 4th and 5th centuries. They were impressive horsemen, best known for their astounding military achievements. And so they were very good horsemen, so obviously travel was a little bit easier for them, but definitely not easy. Question number 3, what group of invaders came from Asia? And that they were the Huns again. And so you can see the areas that the Huns came from over here in Mongolia. Here's the Great Wall of China. Okay, and so obviously they didn't, go through that. They went around, or in areas where it wasn't built up. Question number 4, which 2 groups can you infer were skilled sailors? How do you know? The Vandals and the Anglo-Saxons and the Jutes were skilled sailors. They had to cross large bodies of water. Question number 5, what areas of the Roman Empire were not threatened by barbarian invasions? And you can take a look on in your book, your Human Odyssey book, the maps on page 423 and 504. This is not that map. This is just another map that I put in there that is a good descriptor and shows where each of these barbaric tribes traveled and conquered. And so you can see down on the bottom, Cyrene, Egypt, Arabia, Syria, they didn't reach that far. Okay, and here, go ahead and turn to page 361. There are 2 charts on that page. The top chart we're going to do together in this flip video. The bottom chart is for you to do on your own. So the ancient Romans referred to the lands beyond their borders as the Barbaricum. They considered those lands uncivilized, and few Romans ventured there. But eventually, the people whom the Romans called barbarians would stop the expansion of the Roman Empire and in time help to destroy it. And so here's just a chart of basically what we were just talking about in those previous questions and what we talked about on Ducksters. Who were they? Where did they live? How did they live? What they did? And then what they became over time. And that word plundered, raided, seized, those words all mean that they basically planted themselves there. They went in, they took, kind of like a vandal would do. They went in, they took what they wanted. They, really were pretty ferocious in their methods and aggressive in their methods, and just went in and took and forced their way in. Okay, and then the second part is you'll go ahead and you can choose a vandal group or a barbaric group that you want to study, and then you can find information on them and fill in that chart on your own. And then this is also optional on your own, page 362 in your student guide. You can do a front page of a newspaper. You can go ahead and create all kinds of, use this as your guide to create different drawings, different writings, different articles based on Roman times during this time period. If you finish this and complete this and would like to share it with the class, please let me know. I would be more than happy to share it. And then here we come to our vocabulary. I just chose 2 words: fierce, having or displaying an intense aggressiveness. That's, again, going back to what vandals did. What vandalism is that, intense aggressiveness, that kind of going in and taking what is not yours. That's pretty much what the barbarians did. And then Attila is the leader of the Huns of Central Asia. Reading is key to understanding. Again, make sure you're completing your reading, pages 429 to 437 for this lesson. And then the Analects of Confucius. Lead the people with administrative injunctions and put them in their place with penal law, and they will avoid punishments, but will be without a sense of shame. Lead them with excellence and put them in their place through roles and ritual practices, and in addition to developing a sense of shame, they will order themselves harmoniously. So that's a great lesson there from Confucius. And here we come to the end of our flip video. Thank you so much for joining me today. Get more sleep, get more water, get more exercise, do more reading, get more organized, clean more often, explore more, relax more, have more patience, forget doing more, just try your best. Have an amazing day.